So far, so good for this evening. Again, we're seeing some very quiet conditions after Sunday night, Monday morning. Definitely nice to get a break where the forecast is concerned for at least a little while. Maybe seeing some more problems in the next several days, but it doesn't look like too much of a problem for right now. Some beautiful conditions as of about quarter till 10 Eastern time. Still just a bit of sunset left in the skies, looking from the Patriot Concrete camera across the north flank of Lookout Mountain. Beautiful conditions again tonight. We're not seeing much of anything in the way of any problems. We'll continue to watch for some potential changes as we get into the end of the week, but we'll talk more about that coming up here in just a little bit. So if you're in and around the area, please enjoy the current weather that we've got out there. Things are absolutely gorgeous. I'm Chief Meteorologist Austen Onek. This is Weather Overtime. We are live and direct on Tuesday evening, taking a look again at some beautiful conditions for this evening. Into the next couple of days, we'll be seeing some nicer conditions as well. A little warmer, not by much. Again, showing up with some very nice conditions for now. This coming weekend, the first weekend of June, we may see some more potential problems with showers and maybe some thunderstorms taking place, but we'll talk more about that in just a little bit. Coming up, if you did not hear what we had to say last night on Monday, right after all the storms rolled on through, if you had damage from those storms that rolled through, there was precious little, but if you did get damage, I hope you didn't, but if you did, you could help the National Weather Service with reports, being a citizen scientist, and I'll show you how coming up in just a little while. We're less than 4 days away from the official start of hurricane season for the Atlantic, and that is where we're kind of running into problems, especially with the temperatures of the waters in the oceans. We're seeing some, could be what possibly could be, I hope the forecasts are wrong, but things are not looking all that great out there as we go into the course of the next several weeks and months. This could be, excuse me, a very memorable season, and not in a good way. So more on that coming up here in just a little bit, so stay tuned for that. Let's go ahead and take a look again outside. It was a beautiful day. Going to see if we can see just a little bit left of the sunset for tonight around the area. Not too much, a little bit of a glow out past Raccoon Mountain on the Speedy's Total Car Care camera. If you've never seen our cameras before, the EPB Fiber Optics WeatherCam Network, go ahead and go to our website, wdef.com. Would love for you to drop by and take a look at all the cameras we have, again, on the EPB Fiber Optics WeatherCam Network. This one from the Chattanooga Theater Center on the North Shore, Coolidge Park, the footbridge, the Tennessee River flowing through the downtown area, and again, a beautiful night for everything going on here. Hopefully going to get a good time lapse of this. We set the camera here a few hours ago at Lee Point, looking back over the Chattanooga airport, but hopefully we'll get a good time lapse of this. Also, coming up here relatively soon, let me just go ahead and get the temperatures in here real quick as we see numbers back into the mid to upper 70s at this time, so very much on the comfortable side here. If you're joining us before about 10 o'clock, this is something that might come in. Here we go. This might come in interesting for you. It's happening basically right now to the northwest, to where we may see, again, looking back to that general area, the International Space Station will be flying overhead here in just a minute or two. That again happening in just a minute. Should be just coming up over the horizon. So we'll see. Maybe we can take a look at that into that area. I'm going to pan this camera back around, see if we can see anything. This is really cool because this is not often that we see this happening. During the summertime, we get a little bit better conditions out there for taking a look around. What you're going to look for if you're out there for tonight is going to be looks like a pinprick of light rising up over the horizon, and that's what we'll see. Matter of fact, let me see, is that could be, probably not, it's just almost there. Matter of fact, there it is. Okay, International Space Station moving its way up from the horizon. So we're able to see a little bit of that happening. That's very cool. Again, that is about 200 miles up, so we do have a nice view there. I'm going to try to get a screen capture so we can show a little bit more about what that looks like here. This is, again, beautiful conditions out there for some stargazing. Still a little bit of cloud cover for this evening, but at least we were able to capture a little bit of that going on. This is our Island Cove Marina and Resort camera, and again, we're looking at that. This is 9:52 p.m. Eastern Time, 8:52 Central Time, so you can see a little bit more right there. International Space Station rising above the northwest horizon. I wonder if we can see that on the camera from Lee Point. Might be able to take a look at that there. I don't know if the camera's in the right position or not, but we'll see. And it looks like we're too far over to the west at this point. It's going to be somewhere over that direction. So a good opportunity to see that here. Let me take a look at the Chattanooga Zoo webcam real fast and see if we can see anything. Not bad. Not seeing anything. It looks like it might be encountering some clouds up there, but we're not picking up anything here. So at least we got to see a little bit of it just a few minutes ago. So again, International Space Station passing overhead. A great opportunity to be able to see that as it makes its way through the area. All right, so for tonight, again, we had a few clouds around. We've got a lot more heavy weather back into around areas back toward the south and west of us. A lot more thunderstorms in that particular location. That is where we're looking at the worst potential. That is part of our next storm system, or what should have been our next storm system. We've got some very interesting features in play here, to where we see through the next couple of days the potential of some more developments. Now we've got high pressure up here. This is where we're going to see the possibility of this sending a very weak front. Notice that from about Canada into around Illinois. That is our next front that's going to be dropping through the area tonight into tomorrow, and that's going to give us a reinforcing shot of dry and some cooler air. That will excuse me, that will give us a nicer bit of conditions through midweek. It's looking very nice, and it's also with this area of high pressure moving south. Again, air around high pressure rotates clockwise in the northern hemisphere, so this is going to push drier, more stable air down this direction, which means all of this moisture that could be heading our way is going to do a very good job of getting pushed back down to the south. So we do not see anything in the way of major amounts of problem. And again, this is a good opportunity for us to keep the clearer weather out there. One chat checking in on Twitch. Welcome, Pawpaw T, seeing the ISS. Very glad to hear that. Nice to be able to see that out there, and thank you very much for stopping by, checking in on the stream chat for Twitch TV. If you're on YouTube, our News 12 YouTube page, chat is functional there as well. So if you have questions about the forecast, or you're checking in with ISS spotting for tonight, some satellite spotting, thank you very much, Pawpaw T, for checking in. Really do appreciate everybody watching and checking in for tonight. So for the time being, area of high pressure and cooler, drier air is going to help us stay on the mild and decently dry side up until about the weekend. Now, as this area of high pressure scoots off the east coast, we will see that pattern start to work against us. So instead of now northerly winds coming in, we're going to watch and see this area of high pressure scoot off toward the Atlantic, and then winds will turn back around from the south, and that'll push a decent amount of moisture back up our direction. Now that again gives us more chances of rain and more storm systems lined up over the Pacific and the Pacific Northwest. That is where we could see the potential problems for a shower or thunderstorm capability going into the weekend. So we do not see a major possibility of anything involving severe weather. Back to the west, that could be a different story with those possibilities of stronger storms there. But for us, really just not that much taking place. We are going to see some milder conditions. Temperatures will be getting a little warmer as we go into what's left of May and into June. But the really hot conditions will be limited, it looks like, back to the western half of the country, into and west of the Rockies. That is where the Climate Prediction Center that issues these forecasts is going to see the warmest conditions out there. We'll be toasty, but we're not going to be roasting. Good possibility of summertime really kicking in the heat well back over toward the desert area. And that is where we could see the possibility of some pretty toasty numbers out that way as well. So that could be an issue. We're also going to watch very carefully. We'll talk more about anything involving the hurricane season coming up. The next 30 days, the medium to long range forecast is starting to see a little bit of a trend into the month of June of warmer than usual, but only just by a little bit. Normal conditions right on in through here, and then for us a little bit above normal, but doesn't look like anything really huge. Chances of precipitation, the 1 month outlook again heading into June, a little bit above normal on the precipitation chances going into the next several days from the mid-Atlantic all the way back across the Mississippi Valley and into parts of the Great Plains states. That's where we may see the potential of maybe some areas picking up higher than normal potential, but we're not talking about much. Some, yes, but it doesn't look like we're going to be getting too much out there for right now. So definitely some good news on that for tonight. What camera haven't we featured here yet? We've pretty much done all of them early on, so here we go. Let's take a look at the Tomahawk crane and rigging camera from the 2475 junction. Very light traffic for right now, so nothing showing up in the way of major backups, so definitely good news there. Tomorrow is a special day. It is World Otter Day. Neat little thing to celebrate, talking about conservation and ecology. We've got some information on that tonight on News 12 at 11, so stay tuned for more on that. This is the big day coming up here. We'll talk about the current conditions in a minute, but Atlantic hurricane season begins officially this Saturday, June 1st. That's the official start of the season, and that continues until the end of the season, November 30th. December 1st officially seen as the closing date of hurricane season. Now, we don't normally get a lot of hurricanes here or leftover hurricanes typically, but we can get leftover storms, and if you're traveling, that's why we're talking about this, but we'll talk about that in a minute. First things first on here. Temperatures into the next couple of days, we should be about 85 degrees. We're going to be much lower than that, just lower than that over the next few days, and we see again that potential for very mild conditions. So temperatures not really too high or not too cool, but that's going to be feeling nice out there, 70s and lower 80s all the way around. Nice and dry over the next couple of days, and then Saturday, I think Saturday morning, limited, but then into around Saturday afternoon, we'll see better chances of rainfall coming on through, and then we get into the rest of next week. The first week of June, the semi-short to medium-range models are starting to show a little bit more in the way of more widespread, more active pattern with showers and thunderstorms possible. We're not seeing, and I don't have any markers here for severe weather because right now the Storm Prediction Center does not have any for the upcoming forecast, so some good news, at least for now. It is possible we could see stronger weather, of course, but we're just not getting into that just yet. I think a bit of a break would be nice. Last few weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, we have seen numerous bits of severe weather. Jackson County, Alabama, if my math is relatively correct, you've seen something along the lines of, I believe, 10 to 20 tornado warnings in the last 2 to 3 weeks. That is more than enough for anybody, including that week about 2 to 3 weeks ago, where around Scottsboro, Eider into around Henniger, picking up a decent amount of severe weather. I think we could probably do with a little bit of a break at this point. It looks like that is going to be the pattern for what we might be looking at for right now. So this giving us some very mild weather the next several days, pushing the rain away here, but it comes back again as we get into the weekend. So we do see again that potential for some problems out there with outdoor activities. That's going to be the main thing, but I don't see a weekend ruiner at this time, and into next week I don't think we're looking at too much of anything going on in the way of severe weather. Now, that could always change, especially at this time of the year, but I think we're finally getting past that. As we go into June, July, August, September, October, that is usually, this area of the country usually picks up kind of a doldrums pattern where we don't see much in the way of severe weather or powerful lines of thunderstorms. Yes, they can still happen, but I think we're getting into that doldrums territory. I hope we are, because as of right now, a very active summer. Don't want to curtail that for a lot of folks, summer vacation and just getting out and about and having some outdoor fun. That is why you need to be weather aware, so keep it tuned to News 12 on air or online, and we'll keep you updated about all that. So stay tuned for more there. All right, let's focus a little bit on the tropics. Again, not much of anything happening, at this point, but for the next couple of days, so far, so good. The Hurricane Center in Miami, Florida, the NHC, is the one that issues these forecasts. You can get these are paid for by our tax dollars, so nice to be able to have this information here. And the hurricane season in the Eastern Pacific started already. That starts May 15th. Warmer waters, larger area for the conjuring of these storms to make their way into existence. Not seeing anything happening at this point, but the waters right along the coastline of Mexico, the area up toward California and into Central America, these waters are very warm. Likewise, these waters here, and we'll talk about that in just a little bit. We have nothing going on into the next 2 to 7 days. For the next 48 hours, yes, but again, this map is to include the next 2 days to the next 7 days, and so far, not much of anything is going on. And again, this is really hoping that it stays that way. The reason we're talking about this even before hurricane season starts in the Atlantic is because of the fact that we want to make certain that everybody is paying attention to what may be happening here in the next several days and weeks. We really, really, really have to pay attention to what is going on. It looks like I don't have the forecast advanced graphic here, but basically, let's go ahead and skip ahead to the water temperatures out there. This is what it looks like within about the last hour or so. And you're looking at the Gulf, the Caribbean, out into the Atlantic. This is really exceptionally bad news that we're looking at here. The temperatures of the waters, they should be much cooler. The ocean surface temperatures within about the first 10 to 20 feet are very, very warm. Bathtub warm type waters. And this is a colder waters. If you look, let me get all the way up here. If you look right off the northeastern United States coastline, water temperatures are very chilly. Back in the 40s and 50s, we just got out of wintertime, so there's a lot more colder weather up here with that cold water circulating. But right here, you can see the Gulf Stream pushing that warm water up that direction and over portions of the north central Atlantic. It's down here that we are really feeling the problems, including right along Cuba, the Straits of Cuba, Jamaica, back into the Bahamas. Temperatures here in the mid to high 80s. These are water temperatures, sea surface temperatures, not air temperatures. And this is very bad because the warmer the waters are, the more water vapor, the more unstable the air is. And that's what we're looking at here. The colder temperatures up there, that's not conducive to forming storms. You can see that also all the way over on the west coast of America and Mexico. Much colder temperatures here, but we're also seeing some very warm conditions down around the coast of Mexico. And this is an area that got hit last year. This area here is where Tropical Storm Otis became Major Hurricane Otis, went from a tropical storm to a Category 5 hurricane within 9 hours because of that warmer water. So that is what we are now looking at here. And the worst part about it is those very hot temperatures go all the way out into what is called the Intertropical Convergence Zone, or the greatest area of formation. In this area here, if something forms here and the conditions are right, if it threads that loop going into the Gulf and picks up on that warmer water, that is where we could see amazingly quick development, explosive development, as it is called. Rapid intensification is the term RI for our initials on that. This is not good news. So that is why, again, we're talking about this so much, because if you're heading to the beach, if you're taking a cruise, if you're going anywhere in the tropics for vacation or business or for whatever reason, you really, 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 really need to pay attention as to what's going on. If you're heading to, let's just say, the Keys, for example, and you're going to be hanging out there, surfing, fishing, whatever you can do in Key West. I've never been there before. This area here, if it experiences a storm coming on through and it's heading this way and you're heading that way as well, if that storm really intensifies and starts heading through as a category 3, 4, or 5, you're going to have to turn right around and get back out of there. You do not want to be trapped in a place that's going to be having debris all over the place. You don't want to risk the flooding or getting hit by debris or getting trapped in places with no communication whatsoever. So this is something that you really need to pay attention to on this, is to pay attention to what's going on with the weather, to give you as much information as possible to make certain that you're able to be aware of what's going on with the weather. This is something that I want to talk about, and I did talk about it last night. This is something that happens right after you get into a storm that moves on through. If you live in an area, and I really hope, I'm not trying to use this to people's disadvantage, to getting hit by a strong storm and having damage, having to go through insurance and inspections and blah, blah, blah. All that stuff can be very, very problematic and very much on the time-consuming side, frustrating to get things done, waiting for your turn to get a contractor and all that. But here's the good news. When stuff like this happens, your information can help the National Weather Service when it comes to making better forecasts. If a storm goes one direction from they forecast to go one way and it veers off, or it gets very strong or very weak and it causes damage in that particular area, or it veering off to the side causing damage somewhere else. The data that you provide through submitting a storm report, that is something that can help the researchers and the meteorologists and the specialists who look at computer forecast models and say, okay, this happened before, if A and B, then C. But then if something changes along that route because you experience something different along that forecast area, again, veering of the storms or lots of damage versus no damage, that is something the National Weather Service can use, but only if you turn that information in. So if you'd like to be a citizen scientist, this is very cool. You don't have to have a PhD to be a scientist. To help with science. All you have to have is a pad of paper and a pencil or a pen or a tablet or a computer or something like that to help out. Here's what you do. If you did experience storm damage, then you can fill out the submit a storm report on whatever National Weather Service jurisdiction you happen to be in. And every county in the United States is under one National Weather Service Forecast Office jurisdiction. So if you live in, say, and I'm borrowing Huntsville here because that's part of our viewing area, if you live in DeKalb or Jackson County, Alabama, you would send that in to the National Weather Service Forecast Office in Huntsville. They would send that information along to the National Climatic Data Center. They would also send that information in. Again, that would be used as researchers and all kinds of other information available. So really cool to be able to help with that. So if you did get damage, I'm very sorry to hear that. I hope nobody was hurt. It's good to know nobody was killed in this latest round. And that is always something we try to make certain that we tell people about so that we can get people safe and so we will not lose any more lives. That is prime and paramount. That's why I tell people during severe weather, forget taking videos when there's a tornado anywhere in your area. Get to safety, stay there. Don't risk your life for a piece of video or a picture. If you get one safely, yeah, that's great, but don't risk your life for anything like that. Now, anyway, if you have the opportunity to do so, well, where do I live? Which my county do I live in? And how do I know? Go to weather.gov. Click on your general area, find your county. wherever you live around the United States. Click on that area and enter your location. You can find out more by going up here and just putting in your information, and then you can find out exactly which National Weather Service forecast office covers your area. And that is one great way to turn something bad into something good. So again, please consider doing that. Don't forget also that at this time of the year, it's always a good idea to make certain that you are able to learn more about severe weather when absolutely nothing is happening. So as of right now, if you would like to take the Skywarn course while there's nothing happening, go to this website, meted.ucar.edu, the meteorological education site from the University Corporation for Atmospheric Research. Take the courses online and then register with your National Weather Service office, and you'll be able to get more information about how to register, what to look for, how to be on top of severe weather. This is a really good idea, especially when you've got the summer doldrums taking place. So that is a very good idea right there. All right, that's it for now. Let's take a look at some extracurricular activity. I would love to be able to feature this on this particular graphic. The computer system that we do the graphics on does not accept using this video that we were sent. This is if you take a look at our website, wdef.com/photos, you'll be able to see this, a time lapse of the sunset from northeastern Catoosa County. This was sent in by amateur radio operator Dave Mayo. That's November 8, Tango Papa from Ringgold, Georgia. Thank you very much. And 73s, that's good luck, good wishes in amateur radio speak. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayo, for sending in. If you'd like to see this, was an awesome sunset time lapse. You can see the clouds into the background there, roiling as the sun goes down. Really neat to be able to see that. So thank you very much for an awesome picture there. And the video is even more spectacular. So if you would, please go to wdef.com/photos. If you want to send us your pictures, you can go there as well. Submit the pictures for the Langley Roofing Weather Window Picture of the Day. You can email them to us. You can drop them off, again, at our social media pages, Facebook, X, and Instagram are our big three. So again, please drop off what you have, and we'd love to be able to see what it is that you're looking at out there. So thank you very much for sending those in. All right, let's take a look from the United Nations Environment Program. Very neat website to take a look at when it comes to dealing with information in regards to how all of us can help to protect the planet. So if you'd like to know more about this, all you have to do is go to unep.org. Land degradation, from washing away of coastal estuaries to polluting of farmlands to slash and burn farming to a lot of other techniques that humans, incredibly, why we do these things, I don't know. Yes, for farming in some cases, but a lot of it is just pure human greed and misuse of our beautiful God-given world. This is something that is really important to remember. So what can you do? What can I do to help out to tackle land degradation? Even here in the Tennessee River Valley, there's things we can do. Even if we don't do these things, just talking about them is more important to let other people know that there are things all of us can do to help preserve our only home in space. And we have to keep this planet habitable. We're not treating it as good as we could. And these are things that we can do. Plant more trees, lessen food waste, use less or recycle as much plastics as you can. Where is your recycling center nearby you? Ask yourself that question. Where exactly do things go to get recycled where we are? Where is the Chattanooga Recycling Center? Do we have one? Do you have one nearby? What happens to all that stuff that gets put into the recycle bin if you have that recycling program? If you don't know, the answers just might surprise you, and is not good news, especially where plastics are concerned and the waste of food, which could be composted and used in agriculture. There's a lot of stuff we can do. So naturally, the answer, 73%, is all of the above, and there's tons more that you can do. Again, for the United Nations Environmental program. You can also go to, again, if you'd like to vote in our polls, use the QR code or go to WDEF.com/vote now for our Friend in Roofing weather/science poll of the day. And thank you very much for checking in on that. New poll goes up at midnight, and got a ton more questions coming up, especially about the tropics as we approach hurricane season. So that is going to be something that we really do need to focus on into the next several days and weeks. All right, that should just about do it. We've been on for about a half an hour. So questions, concerns, ideas, complaints, if you absolutely must. Email address at the bottom of the screen down here in the bar, the blue bar, aonek@wdef.com. If you'd like to know more about us at News 12, or you have information for other folks to report on an event, or you see some news happening, bottom of the screen, WDEF.com. Particularly here, it's WDEF.com/weather. And again, we try to include a whole bunch of neat and interesting things on Weather Overtime so that you can tune in and find out what's going on. Again, we're netcasting on YouTube for the News 12 station and on my Twitch page. I'm on all these social media pages except Facebook. Somebody tried to hack my account, and Facebook won't let me back on again. And that's been going on now for just shy of 2 months. So one of these days, maybe they'll let me back in, or maybe my Facebook career is over with. I'm not entirely sure. Anyway, keep an eye on what's going on with the weather at our website, and stay tuned for more. Chip Chapman will have more on the forecast bright and early tomorrow morning. That's Wednesday morning, peak of the week, on News 12 this morning. I'll have more coming up tomorrow evening, so stay tuned for more with News 12 on air and online. Papa T on Twitch. Thank you very much for checking in. Thank you for thanking me, but more important to thank you, the viewers, for tuning in on this. Always nice to have somebody checking in. And if you can, if you like it, spread the word about Weather Overtime. Take this link to the page and send it out to everybody you know. We'd love to see more folks watching to see what goes on so they can catch up with what's happening in the Tennessee River Valley. Thank you very much for watching, live and direct from downtown Chattanooga, Tennessee. I'm Chief Meteorologist Austen Onek at the WDEF News 12 studios on Broad Street. Thanks for watching, and we'll have more for you coming up on Wednesday.